You guys go. Awesome. Everybody. Jake is up. I love it. I'm so glad. Happy Wednesday is right. Heather, Jake set an alarm. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it or not today.
Woke up like 10 minutes ago.
I said, look, we gotta start getting him up earlier. Early bird gets the worm. Although I slept about 30 minutes past what I normally do today because it's super dreary in Charleston. And I woke up and my alarm went off and I was like, oh, it's still like must be really early or something. And then I was so tired today for some reason. All right, guys. Oh, we still got more people hopping in. Okay. Can you believe it's already February, first of all? Holy cow. I'm like, what in the world? Just went by so fast, like it always does, which is crazy. I actually am going to share something with you guys today. That's a part of a class that I teach other leaders on how to have abundant thinking and how to have an abundant mindset. And so it's going to look a little bit different than our normal slides today, but I think that hopefully you guys will get some good value out of it. And hold on just one second. Let me share my screen. Oopsie. So just ignore all the parts that I didn't switch it all out. So we'll skip some of this, but I want to and now that I'm not on my normal slides, let's type something that you're grateful for in the chat while I'm explaining this to you today. So anything that you are grateful for, you can type it in the chat, or if you're on Facebook watching, you can type it in the comments, and would love to see something that you guys are grateful for. So I actually, in the whole month of January, do not the whole month. I do a 21 days of prayer and fasting, and then just dry January. Oh my gosh, both Jills said the same thing. You guys are in sync today. Hilarious. Your health, love that. And sunshine, yes, Angie, your team, Bridget, totally, yep, love it. My mother-in-law being home from the hospital. Oh wow, I didn't even know that. Hopefully she's okay. Monica, good, she's good. Okay. Healing, your health, yes. So all these are great. Actually, Susan, that's exactly what I wrote this morning. So I was going to say, I do a 21 days of prayer and fasting, and I got just good clarity this year on just the importance of the first of things. And so this morning I wrote in my little prayer journal that I was really grateful for a fresh start and a new month. That's exactly what I said, like the first of a new month and the chance to be able to start over. And so sometimes I think that that's just really important and we forget about those. Becky, new AC installed yesterday. Yeah, I was going to say the rest of the people don't necessarily, that wouldn't mean very much, but she's in Florida. So she's one of the lucky ones that is in the heat, which is great. We have Heather and I have a trip coming up in a week and a half, 2 weeks, a week and a half. I don't know, soon, 10 days from today. We're taking our husbands, so pray for us, to St. John and the British Virgin Islands for a little weekend, Valentine's Day weekend getaway, because we need to get tan and we need some sunshine. We are over the cold. No more cold. Can't take it anymore. Okay, so I want to share with you guys today some points on living in abundance. And I feel like I talk to a lot of real estate agents and a lot of business owners and real estate entrepreneurs. And I feel like a lot of people right now are questioning, and maybe this is not you, and that's totally fine because you'll still get value out of it, but are questioning like, what am I doing? And, what's my purpose or my calling in doing this? And just a lot of questions like that. So the reason why I wanted to do this is because I will never forget these 5 words that I want you to write down that John Maxwell shared with me one time. And they are, you were born for this. You were born for this. And John always says that whatever season of your life you are in, you're there for a reason. And you were born to do exactly that. And you wouldn't be there if you weren't supposed to be there. And so you have to think about the fact that whatever you're doing, you were born to do that. And so for a lot of us, we were born to be in relationship with other people. We were born to be leaders in some capacity, whether that's to our offices, to our teams, to our families, whatever that looks like. But you were born for this. And I have this picture that's really funny. Some of you have seen this before, but this is from January 25th, 2015, when I was contemplating stepping out of real estate to take on the leadership role of being a team leader. And I had really no idea what to do. And I was like back and forth. And I loved selling real estate. And I had, great income and great career and all that stuff. And I really had never led anybody or anything before. So I was like, I don't really know about that. And so I had been volunteering at my church for like probably 2 years at this place. This was at Southland Christian Church in Lexington called Connection Point. And every other Sunday I would go to can you hear my dogs freaking out over these toys? They're squeaking so loud. I would go in and get underneath of this cabinet and get in this bucket and pull out this lanyard that I would wear every other Sunday when I worked at Connection Point, which is where you would tell people where to go to the bathroom, or if they were new, where to go, or if they had kids, what Sunday school class they should go to and all that stuff. And so people would come there just basically if they had questions. And the occasional homeless person would stumble in sometimes, and I'd be like, let me get you some coffee. Not really sure what to do with you, but we'll get you some coffee and have you sit down. So anyway, I had been thinking about taking this leadership role and just could not decide. And that day on the way there that morning, I was like, okay, God, that I have to have a bus drive in front of me with a legit sign on the side of it to make a decision. So today I need a sign and I'm going to make a decision one way or the other, and I'm not going to think about it again. And I got there, pulled out my lanyard. This is a mega church. There's 5,000 people there on a Sunday. So it was the hustle and bustle of the Sunday. And I didn't even pay attention. And then everybody went into the service, and I was out there and there was nobody else around Connection Point. And I thought, okay, today I'm going to get a sign. I know that I was born for whatever I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm going to get a sign. And you guys, I literally looked down and my lanyard had said team leader that I had worn around my neck for 2 years every other Sunday. And I was like, all right, well, there it is. There's a really good sign. So I want you guys to think about when you have an abundant mindset and you are thinking of things in abundantly, meaning that you were born for this and things are going to work out no matter what, then that's a learned mindset to have. So the first lesson is that in living in abundance and thinking of an abundant mindset is you need to be intentional. And many of you have read this book. I know I talk about it all the time. If you still have not read it, you have to read it. You need to make yourself read it. It's called Chase the Lion by Mark Batterson. And in this book, he talks about being intentional with your time, talent, and your treasures. And that's biblical. But if you're not a person of faith, that doesn't matter because it makes so much sense. Hi, Sarah Weber. So I just saw her walk in. So with your time, talent, and your treasures. So you have to think about being intentional about the time that you're spending. For most of us, this is probably the hardest one because we are all over the place, right? Or we sometimes don't want to do things that we need to do to time block in our calendars. Our talent is being intentional with what it is that are your strengths. All of us have certain strengths. We all have a unique ability. And so how intentional are you actually being with your talents? And then your treasures. And Gary Keller always says, I can tell a lot about a person if you show me their calendar and their checkbook, which most of us don't keep a checkbook. Well, Heather probably does, but a registry. Heather, do you? Yes or no? Yes, I knew she probably did. An actual checkbook registry. Is that what it's called? No, I don't think it's called a registry.
Register.
Okay, I was close. Clearly, you can tell that I don't write my stuff down. But Gary always says you can tell a lot. Oh, Stephanie Kellerman does too. You can tell a lot about a person when you look at those two things, right? How they spend their time and what they do with their treasures. And so I want you guys to just think about how intentional are you being this year with your time, your talent, and your treasures. And if you had to pick one that you really needed to work on being more intentional with, which one would it be? Actually, will you guys let's just be brave and type in the chat or the comments If you had to pick one to be more intentional with this year that you need to be, which one would it be? Your time, your talent, or your treasures? What'd you say? Time. Yep. Talent. Time, talent. I knew it would be some of those. Mine is talent for sure. I need to focus on the things that I'm really good at and not the things that I'm not good at. Treasure, talent, time, and treasures. Nikki. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Love it. Okay. I love this saying by John Maxwell. Susan, great one. Yeah. Focusing time on talent. Yep. That's very true. John always says you can't be outrageously generous when you're broke. And so I always talk about this when I would meet with business owners or top agents, and they would say, I don't need to make any more money. And I always would kind of be like, okay. Because really, if you want to be really generous and if you want to prepare for life's unexpecteds, then you can't do those things when you're broke, right? This is an old one. I need to update this, but this was 2021. And it's actually kind of cool to see the things that I crossed off on here. However, being intentional with your goals, right? And your vision and what you want to accomplish. And are you really putting it out there? And do you have a vision board? Do you have things that you can physically see in front of you that you really want to accomplish? And if you don't, I would really challenge you to be intentional with that, because the more that you do that, the more that it actually happens, right? Oh, look, there was my hot tub. It doesn't really look like that, but at least I have one from 2021. So that's nice. That's Sarah's little 5-year plan up there. We need to go back over that and see what's been accomplished on that. I still have that, by the way, Sarah. Successful people do consistently what other people do occasionally. And I think that that's a really great thing to remember when you're thinking about being intentional, right? Successful people do consistently what other people do occasionally. And your life is the sum total of all the small decisions that you make. Sometimes we think it's about making these really big decisions. And typically it's about all the little small decisions that add up. Like, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but Cadbury eggs are already out in the grocery store. I've had one every day for the last 4 days. That's a bad small decision that probably could end up being something bad, considering I'm really trying to be healthy right now. However, I do have an obsession with those, and I could not believe they were already out in January. So not only did I buy the pack, I actually bought the box of the individual ones that you're supposed to like take one and go to the checkout. I was like, I'll just take the box. There's like 20 in there. The kids will eat some. Nope, I've had one every single day for dinner. So just remember that your small decisions, obviously that can be something way bigger than Cadbury eggs, but that you get the point. Number 2 is in living a life in abundance and a mindset of abundance is relationships and people really matter. This is also old, but it was fun for me to look at some of the people that I've got to meet and the relationships that I've got to have over the last several years. And I don't know if you guys know at the bottom, this guy, this black man in the suit that I love so much is the 5th grade dropout. Have you guys, if you've never watched his speech on YouTube, I think he also did a TED Talk on it. So good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Actually, you Ohio people will appreciate Jim Tressel in this little collage right here. However, people and relationships really matter. And when you want to live a life of abundance, you have to really, that's Queen Elizabeth's first cousin. I forgot he was on here up at the top, the really old looking guy that I'm shaking his hand with in the Windsor Castle. That was really cool. But you have to think about like John Maxwell. Linda McKissick introduced me to John Maxwell. John Maxwell introduced me to took us to the Windsor Castle, which was how we met the Queen Elizabeth's first cousin. And there was no American group that had ever been able to dine in the Windsor Castle before, besides our group, which was really cool. But it's just building relationships, right? And so I just want you to think about how intentional are you with building relationships and understanding that people really, really do matter. And then number 3, which is the last one. And to me, this is probably the most important one. And I would say the one that most people need to focus on the most. And that is to live a mindset and life of abundance. You have to run your race. And you have to really focus on yourself, right? Not anybody else, not comparison. This one is about comparison, because the fastest way to kill or destroy something special is to compare it to someone else. or something else. That's a Craig Groeschel quote, direct. And it's probably one of my favorite quotes ever, because whether we want to admit it or not, we do compare. I mean, I don't know if it's sometimes little small things or bigger things, but we do it a lot. And comparison makes you feel either two ways, superior or inferior. And you never want to feel better, bigger and better than everybody else. And you never want to feel less than or inferior than everybody else, right? If you're a person of faith, then neither one of those honor God. Like, he doesn't want you to feel either of those ways. And every time you compare, that's what you're doing. And so you have to really think about running your own race. I like this quote that also happens to be in the Bible. The quickest way to lose a race is to look over your shoulder behind you. So always look forward. And I'm going to show you a picture on the next slide about that. But I want you to just think about running with purpose in every single step. And maybe if you don't get anything else out of today, you just think about running in the month of February with purpose in every single step. That's your race, because remember, you can't run someone else's race and they can't run your race. So there's really no need to compare, right? Because what somebody else is going to do, I can't do. And what I'm going to do, somebody else might not do. And so you have to really think about it. And this is, I know I've showed you this before, but this is like goes down in one of my all-time favorite pictures ever. And this is when Michael Phelps was competing. This was in 2012 in the Olympics. And Michael Phelps was competing for his 10th gold medal. That would make him the best Olympian of all time. Like, no one would win more medals than him. And his competitor, Chad, you can see, was looking over at Phelps. This was right towards the end, and Phelps was looking straight ahead. And when we think about running our own race and staying in our lane and being on purpose with every single step, Phelps won by one stroke. And if people say if Chad would have actually been focusing on his own lane, because he was ahead for a little bit, if he would have been focusing on his own lane and his own race and his own race, literally his own race, he very easily could have won. But the crazy thing is that Phelps, he didn't care. He was like a horse with those things on, right? Like, he didn't care what was going on around him. He was just focused on his own race. So anytime you're thinking about comparison, or, well, let me back up. Anytime I'm thinking about comparison, or I'm trying to start to compare myself to someone else, or my life to someone else, or my, accomplishments or whatever it is to someone else, which there are lots of people that I could do that with. Try working with Linda McKissick. I'm like, we will have a plane one day. I will have a plane one day. It's my new affirmation. We need one really bad though. But anytime you get in that mindset, like, this is the image that I always have pop in my head, because I'm like, it's my race. Like, I don't need to look at what anybody else is. Are y'all following? Does that make sense? Everybody? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, perfect. I really, really, really like this one. So then I wanted to leave you guys with 10 ways that you are successful. And this is from the book Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. And I actually have this screenshotted. So you guys should all maybe take a picture of this, and you can share it on your social media or save it in your favorites or whatever. But this is what Dan Sullivan says is when you know you're successful. And a lot of times we don't really know what the definition of that is. And everybody's definition of success is different. But way number one is I can wake up every day and ask, what would I like to do today? Way number two is my passive revenue exceeds my lifestyle needs. Way number three, I can live anywhere in the world that I want. A lot of you know that was like a big one for me over the last 2.5 years, 3 years. Way number four, I'm working on projects that excite me and allow me to do my best work. Way number five, I can disappear for several months with no effect on my income. Way number six, there are no whiny people in my life. That also has been one I've been working on. Way number seven, I wear my watch for curiosity only. Way number eight, I have no time obligations or deadlines. Way number nine, I wear whatever I want all the time. And way number 10 is I can quit at any time. And so Dan Sullivan says that as he coaches many millionaire entrepreneurs and even bigger than millionaires, probably, because he coaches some of the biggest business owners in the world. He says, look through these and see, like, okay, which one do I want to go after first? Because you're not going to achieve all 10 of them at one time. But the reason why I wanted to show these to you is because when you have a mindset of abundance and you have a mindset of intentional living and building great relationships and not comparing and running your own race, then these are the things that you can focus on, right? And so I would say, let's just also for fun, if you would like to type in the chat, which one jumped out to you the most that you're like, man, that's the one that I want. You can just put the number. Which one would you like to get to first? I would say you can take a second and look through them. Yeah, Milton can quit anytime, live anywhere. Yep. Working on projects that excite me. Passive income exceeds lifestyle needs. Yeah, Angie, that's mine too. 2 and 5. Yep, totally. 5. Yeah, I figured 5, Heather. I figured Heather can be number 5. Yeah, I need to shoot for that one too. Oh, lots of number 5s. Yep, number 1, Nikki. Yeah, that's a good one too. So I would say focus on these, you guys, and think about the one that you picked, and then think about how can you get there quicker. And for a lot of us, it's just being intentional with those things that we talked about in the very beginning. Oh, whoops, sorry. And then I just want to end with this. Some of you have heard this before. It's such a great reminder. It's one of my favorite things ever. I know the image is a little graphic, so if you get ill, Sarah Weber, don't look at it. That Sarah's probably, yeah, she's going to be sick. Probably she can't even look at it. It's a little graphic of an image. Is that Aaron too? You guys are like up and at it today. It's a little graphic. However, let me just read this to you. An elephant and a dog became pregnant at the same time. 3 months down the line, the dog gave birth to 6 puppies. 6 months later, the dog was pregnant again, and in 9 months, it gave birth to another dozen puppies, and the pattern continued. On the 18th month, the dog approached the elephant questioning, "Are you sure that you're really pregnant? We became pregnant on the same date, and I gave birth 3 times to a dozen puppies, and they have now grown to become big dogs, yet you are still pregnant. What is going on?" The elephant replied, "There is something I want you to understand. What I'm carrying is not a puppy, but it's an elephant. I only give birth to 1 in 2 years. When my baby hits the ground, the earth feels it. When my baby crosses the road, human beings stop and watch in admiration. What I carry draws attention. So what I'm carrying is mighty and great. Don't lose faith when you see others achieving their success. Don't be envious of others' results. If you haven't received your success, don't despair. Say to yourself, my time is coming, and when it hits the surface of the earth, many shall yield in admiration." Don't you guys love that? I love that. It's worth the, isn't that so good? Yes, it's worth the graphic image because it's so super good. Oh, Stephanie, you've never heard that. I've shared that a couple of times, so I wasn't sure if I should share it again today, but I'm glad I did because some of you might not have heard that. So anyway, okay, that's it, guys. Being intentional, building great relationships, and running your own race is what I would challenge you guys to think about going and doing. And oh, Milton, I think I was going to do that. Can you go over your digital 411 soon? Yes. Since I have 6 minutes left, I will really quickly just pull that up. And if you want to hop off or you don't care about a 411, go for it. Otherwise, I will just quickly explain this to you guys. I need to actually make a video on this too. Okay. So many of you, and actually let me share, hold on one second. Here's the link for those of you that want this. Just when you click on it, please click make a copy. Wait.
No, don't do that one. I'll share.
Someone didn't make a copy. Look, wait, am I on the right one? Hold on. Yeah. Oh, look, Heather, this was the one I've been sharing with people that was blank and it has words on it.
Yeah, that's somebody's.
Well,
Are you
don't click the one that I just put in the chat, you guys. Heather, can we make another one?
Yeah, I'll make a new one.
Okay, so wait for the link. But the way that a 411 works is at the top, you have different categories. Okay, so you're going to put whatever businesses you are a part of at the top. You might just have 1, you might have 2, whatever that looks like. You're going to put your businesses at the top. Many of you probably have investment goals. So you're going to put your investment. Okay. Thanks, Heather. Perfect. She said she'll post the link in the Facebook group with this too. And if for some reason you're not on Facebook, just email me and we'll get it to you. Many of you probably have investments, and then you should never take off personal development, financial, family, spiritual, physical, those last ones, right? Because it's great to have all these business goals, but if you don't have these personal goals, then you're not going to have your business goals too. So at the top, you would fill in your categories. If you need to delete one, like you just go to the top and hit, delete column, or you can insert another one if you need it. That part's really easy. Okay. And then you're going to go through and list 4 or 5 goals in each of these categories that you want to accomplish in 5 years. I'm working off of one from 2 years ago. So these are goals for 2026. Okay. Then what you do is you go down to this year, 2023, in each of these categories, and you say, okay, in order to do this by 2026, I need to do this in 2023. So you just chunk it down. We're just like chunking down your 5-year goals so that you can make them achievable. So the next little row down here would be everything that you want to accomplish in each category in 2023, in this year. And so this takes time. I mean, like it might take you 2 or 3 hours to do this, you guys, and you might have to look at it and then go away and then come back to it. But I promise you that it will really work. So drop down to your 2023 goals. Okay. Then you come down monthly. So I have a different tab at the bottom for each month. Today I have to do February. I was supposed to do it yesterday and I didn't get to. So like my one thing today is to do my February. But in January, you would say, okay, in order to achieve these goals in 2023, my big rocks for this month are these 3 or 4 or 5 things. And then you come down and you start putting them in here. And then you know that those are the things that you have to get accomplished for that month. Okay. Then when you go down, you see 4 weeks, week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. And so it's your big rocks. It's not a to-do list. Okay. It's actually your big rocks list, because we all have 50 million things we have to do, but a lot of those things do not get us to our goals, right? They are like little things that we just think are making us busy. So we have to take our big rocks for each week. So sometimes like I may only have one big rock for the week, but it's like the one thing that I know that I need to do that week, or 2 things in order to get up to make January happen. So today, you do 1 week at a time. So the first week you fill out week 1. If you didn't get something done there that you really needed to do, then you got to roll it over into week 2. And then week 2, you may have new things, week 3 and week 4, so on and so on. And then at the end of the month today, I'll go back up here and say, okay, what of all of these things are not highlighted that I did not get done, that I need to do? Or are they still important to me is a really big question. And actually, Milton and I have talked about this a little bit, because sometimes like you may get to month June and look back up here and say, you know what, like, I don't want to, whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to I want to do all of mine, so I can't find one, but, I don't need to hire a coach to help us monetize the podcast anymore. We've done it on our own. So Stephanie, to answer your question, I scratch through things that I don't need to do, or we decided not to do, or like, it doesn't need to happen anymore, basically. And I highlight things when they're done. I don't know. There's no right or wrong to that. I think you can do whatever is visually appealing to you, probably. And then I just go down and, Frankie, nobody, sorry. I just go down and then duplicate the sheets. And then you would just like start another month. And then you can, rename it. And then that way, everything at the top and everything at 2023 is still there. But then your month would change each time. Does that help? Okay, perfect. So we'll share with you guys. Milton, did that help you in the chat? Will you let me know? If not, we can hop on the phone too. Yes, you guys, this is like it's a commitment. I'm not going to lie. It is a commitment. And I just had this conversation with my coach on Monday this week, Terry. You're not going to get it perfect every single week. You might not even get it perfect every single month. But if you use a tool like this and say you get, 50% of it done, you're likely probably 50% more further along and better off than if you weren't going to have done anything at all. Because or at least if you're like me, you get busy doing all the rat race of the stuff. For most of you, it's like the inspections and the appraisals and writing out your postcards and doing all this other stuff. And not that those things aren't important. It's just that a lot of those things don't get us to like our big rock. So Milton, thanks for asking that. I'm sure other people probably needed and appreciated that too. And it is 1 minute past 9:30. So we were close. If you have questions on the 411, I used to suck at a 411. So it's taken me years to get better. So if you have questions, I will help you. Just let me know. And we can get you guys on the right track. And then Heather will share the blank form, the blank link, so that you guys, Heather, somebody told me also in that there's a way to put copy on the end so that
Yeah.
anytime. Yeah. Okay. Cause people
I'll
keep,
change it.
okay. I was gonna say, cause people.
I'll try to figure out by that one whose that is. Maybe
Yeah,
I can look at the goals.
We'll have to go through and look and see if we can figure out who it is. I saw some things that Nora, if anybody knows anybody who has a family member named Nora, that might be them. Okay, guys, have a great rest of your week. Thanks for being on. See
Thank you so
later.
much, Dana. Take
Bye,
care.
Milton. Thank you.
All right.
See you.
Bye-bye. See ya.